We have Vaneh with NHD Resource with us today. And stick around, we're going to hear everything about the new fire hardening disclosure law. We have with us today Vaneh with NHD Resource. And from an agent's point of view, a NHD report is necessary to provide to the buyer. But Vaneh, what is in a report? And thanks for joining us today.
Of course. So natural hazard disclosure is a state-level disclosure governed by Civil Code 1103. The majority of the report is for fire, earthquake, and there's a bunch of different zones that's stated in the Civil Code 1103. So the data comes from public entities such as FEMA or CAL FIRE, and the NHD company, NHD Resource in particular, will grab the data, update the data on a daily basis, so we always have the latest and greatest. The NHD reports are typically generated within a minute, and it's a required report by the seller to be provided to the buyer to disclose if the property is in fire zone, earthquake zone, flood zone, or many other local level jurisdictions. Each county also has their own disclosures. So there's state level disclosures and also county level. And
do these zones change on a periodic timetable?
The data within the zones do change frequently. Every zone is different. For example, FEMA can send an update saying, X amount of parcels in this quarter will get either removed or added on. So we know the date. So on that day, we grab the data from FEMA and we update our database. So when the reports are pulled at that second, it is the latest and the greatest.
So Vaneh, how do you order the reports and how much do they cost?
You would visit NHDresource.com. The basic NHD report is $79. With environmental is $99. Most NHD reports are delivered within a minute. And with that, you get access to real-time maps and also a free detailed property profile.
Talk about, California's been ravished by wildfires in the last couple of years. Talk about the high fire zones, and there's a new Senate bill.
Right. So there's a new government code ABA 38, which is fire hardening disclosure. The state of California decided to provide more guidance on how to do either construction on new builds, to have enough brush clearance, to not have so much of flammable materials nearby where it could cause fire. So they're trying to mitigate the risk by having more rules at a state level, but at the same time, they're allowing local ordinance, each county, to overlay their own rules on top of that. So some of the counties started providing data or guidance from their local fire station of, for example, if you are purchasing property, you can go to the local fire station and ask for the fire data that's on the NHD report. The NHD Resource report will give the local fire station phone number and email address, so the buyers have the ability to pick up the phone, call, to investigate and make sure the property that they're buying are within either fire zone or not, or what is it that they need to do to be compliant.
So when a buyer sees these reports, and let's say their property is located in a flood zone or a high fire zone, what's the best way to, talk to your clients about these zones? And is there, we talked earlier that there's updated live maps that you have access to.
Right. So the NHD report will have all the details you would need for each of the zones that's concerned. And it'll have the links, the phone number, and a quick summary of what the disclosure is about. As we know, entire California is in either fire zone, earthquake zone. There's different levels to it. And if you're buying that expensive home in the hills, it's likely going to be in fire zone. If you're buying a house that's close to a lake with a view, you're going to be in flood zone. So it just comes with the territory, and it needs to be explained correctly. So a lot of times the report will have the data that the buyers are looking for. If not, it will have the public entity that is providing the data in case if, they want to investigate further, they can call that public entity specifically and find out what else they can do about it. But most of the time, the disclosure is either in or out, and there's not much to do about it. But some of the zones, for example, natural radioactive, radon zone. So a lot of people are concerned because it's typically marked in. If you actually look at the real-time maps that you will find on every single order, it comes for free with NHD Resource, you're able to see that entire California is in natural radioactive material. It's all around us. It's around us now.
So that's a radon zone.
Correct. There's different levels to it. The most reputable public entity that provides radon zone is EPA. So EPA classifies different, there are 3 levels, there's 3 levels to it. For example, Ventura or Santa Barbara County are at higher level, LA is on lower level. And it's all around us. There's not much you can do about it. However, EPA does send test kits, so each buyer can call EPA, either hire a specialist or get the test kit for free and do some samples within that property and see what is the radon level zone. So if it's not, if it's alarming for them, they have the right to know upfront before purchasing the property.
That's great information. Thank you. Now, when should our agents order these reports?
A lot of times the agents will order through their escrow, but NHD Resource will provide RE/MAX agents with the report on day 1 of the listing. The right thing to do is to grab the NHD report, attach it to the MLS listing, so you are disclosing all the zones up front in the MLS. So later on, if the buyer finds out if the property was in fire zone or flood zone and they get freaked out about it, they can actually, they'll have the right to get out of the escrow because of it. So if you're disclosing up front, you're saving yourself a potential risk of the buyer getting out of the transaction for that reason.
That's great. Thank you. You've had great information. Remember, NHD Resource is your choice for NHD. And thank you for joining us again, Vaneh.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right.